Hello, everyone, and welcome to the English Cast. I am Ryan.
Hi, everyone. I am Emma, and we are so happy you are spending your time learning with us today.
It is great to be back behind the microphone. How has your week been so far, Emma?
It has been really lovely, thank you. I've been spending a lot of time just reading and enjoying the quiet moments. How about you?
Very similar. I think taking time to slow down is so important for keeping our minds clear and ready to learn.
I completely agree. And speaking of keeping our minds clear, today we are tackling a topic that often makes learners feel a little bit foggy.
Have you ever been in the middle of a conversation, perhaps talking about your weekend plans, and you suddenly freeze? You know what you want to say, but you are not sure which word to use to describe the future.
It is such a common experience. You pause and think, should I say I will go, or I'm going to go? And sometimes that hesitation stops the flow of your story.
Today, we are going to remove that hesitation. We are going to explore the three pillars of future storytelling: will, going to, and would.
By the end of this episode, we want you to feel the emotional difference between these words so you can choose the one that matches your true intention.
Let's dive right in. The biggest source of confusion is usually between will and going to. A lot of textbooks tell you they are the same, but in real life, they carry a very different weight.
That is a great way to put it. They have different weights. When I hear going to, I feel something solid. I feel like the speaker has a plan that is already in motion.
Exactly. Going to is the bridge between the past and the future. It means you made the decision before you started speaking. The idea is already in your head.
Let's visualize this with a fresh scenario. Ryan, imagine you have been saving money for months to buy a new laptop. You have read all the reviews, you have checked the prices, and you know exactly which model you want.
I have done my homework. I am ready to buy.
If you meet a friend for coffee and they ask, "What are you doing this afternoon?" What is the most natural answer?
I would say, I am going to buy a new laptop.
Right. You wouldn't say, "I will buy a new laptop here," because that sounds like you just decided it right that second. Going to honors the fact that you have been planning this for months.
It implies a schedule. It implies that if I looked at your calendar or your to-do list, I would see buy laptop written there.
Now let's flip the script. Imagine you walk into the electronics store with your plan. You walk up to the shelf, but it is empty. The laptop is sold out.
Oh no, that is frustrating.
The salesperson apologizes and says they have a different model available, but it is blue instead of silver. You look at it, you think for 1 second, and you make a choice.
In that moment, I would say, okay, I will take the blue one.
You switch to will. Why?
Because I didn't plan to buy the blue one. I didn't wake up this morning thinking about a blue laptop. I made that decision right there, standing at the counter, as a reaction to the situation.
That is the perfect distinction. Will is spontaneous. It is the word of the present moment. It is a reaction to new information.
Think of will as a volunteer. When you see a problem, will raises its hand to fix it.
I love that image. If you are at a dinner party and someone knocks over a glass of water, you don't stare at it and make a plan. You react.
You say, I will get a towel. You are volunteering in the moment. If you said, I am going to get a towel, it sounds like you knew the water was going to spill.
Which would be a little bit suspicious. So, going to is for the plan you brought with you, and will is for the decision you make now.
There is another layer to this, though. It isn't just about plans. It is also about how we predict the world around us.
Yes, this is where we have to look at evidence versus opinion.
Imagine you are watching a baker carry a huge, three-tiered wedding cake across a slippery floor. You see the cake wobbling. You see the baker trip on a rug
Oh dear, I can see what is about to happen.
because you have physical evidence, the wobbling, the rug, the slippery floor. You use the solid phrase. You say, he is going to drop it.
You can practically see the future. It feels inevitable.
But now, imagine you are just sitting in a chair talking about the Oscars or a sports game. You don't have physical proof. You just have a feeling in your gut.
In that case, we usually use will. I think that movie will win the award. It is an opinion. It is a belief.
It is softer. So, going to is based on what you see, and will is based on what you think.
Now that we have separated those two, we have to introduce the third character in this story, the word would.
Would is fascinating because it moves us out of reality and into the imagination.
We use would when we want to talk about a future that depends on a condition, usually a condition that isn't real.
For example, imagine you are living in a small apartment in the city. It is noisy, and there is no garden. You might say to your friend, I would grow my own vegetables if I had a garden.
But you don't have a garden, so growing vegetables is just a dream. It is a hypothetical situation.
Exactly. If you said, I will grow vegetables, you are making a promise. You are saying it is definitely happening. Would keeps it in the world of ideas.
Would is also our secret weapon for being polite. It is one of the most important tools for social smoothing in English.
This is so true. Direct language can sometimes feel a bit aggressive, even if you don't mean it to be.
If you are sitting at a table and you say to someone, pass the salt, it is a command. It is very direct.
Even if you say, will you pass the salt? It can sound a little bit impatient. It demands a yes or no answer immediately.
But if you switch to would, it changes the atmosphere. Would you pass the salt? Or, would you mind passing the salt?
It sounds so much gentler. It is like you are asking, in a world where you are willing to help, would you do this for me? It gives the other person space.
It is softer, more respectful, and much more natural in formal situations or with people you don't know very well.
Let's try to weave all three of these into a longer scenario. I think hearing them in context really helps lock in the feeling.
That is a great idea. Let's pretend we are two colleagues organizing a retirement party for our boss.
Okay, I am ready.
So, Ryan, how are the preparations coming along for the party on Friday?
They are going well. I sent out the invitations yesterday, and I am going to pick up the decorations tomorrow morning.
That is great. You are so organized. What about the food?
Well, that is a bit of an issue. The catering company just called to cancel.
Oh no, that is a disaster. What are we going to do?
Don't panic. I will call that new sandwich shop down the street and see if they can help us on short notice.
That is a good idea. Do you think they have enough staff?
I am not sure. It would be amazing if they could deliver too, so we don't have to drive there.
True. If they can't deliver, I will drive over and pick it up myself.
Thanks, Emma. That would be a huge help.
Okay, let's pause and look at that conversation. It flowed very naturally, but we switched tenses 4 or 5 times.
First, I said, I am going to pick up the decorations.
You used going to because it was on your to-do list. You planned it before I asked.
Then we hit the problem with the catering, and I said, I will call the sandwich shop.
You used will because it was a reaction to the bad news. You decided to call them in that exact moment to solve the crisis.
Then I used would. I said, it would be amazing if they could deliver.
You were imagining a perfect scenario. You don't know if they deliver yet, so you're just hoping. It is hypothetical.
And finally, you made an offer. You said, I will drive over.
Again, a spontaneous offer of help. I saw you were stressed, and I volunteered.
It is really like a dance. You step forward with going to for your plans. You step sideways with will for your reactions. And you spin around with would for your wishes.
That is a lovely metaphor. It really is a dance. And just like dancing, you don't need to look at your feet the whole time. You just need to feel the music.
I want to give our listeners one more mental image to help them remember this distinction. Let's think about a ship at sea.
I love the ocean. Set the scene for us.
Going to is the captain's chart. The course is drawn in red ink on the map. The ship is heavy and moving in that direction. We are going to arrive at the port tomorrow. It is set.
Okay. The chart is the plan.
Will is the person steering the wheel. Suddenly, a dolphin jumps out of the water. The person yells, "Look, I will take a picture." They react instantly. They didn't plan to see the dolphin.
I like that. The reaction to the surprise.
And would is the sailor looking at the horizon, dreaming. They think, I would love to sail around the world if I had my own boat.
The chart, the wheel, and the dream. That is a really powerful way to keep them separate in your mind.
One thing I want to add before we finish is about pronunciation. When native speakers dance with these words, we often shorten them to make the rhythm smoother.
Yes, this is crucial for listening. Going to very often becomes gonna. I'm gonna buy a laptop.
And will almost always becomes a contraction. I'll, she'll, we'll.
If you say I will call you, with a pause between every word, it sounds very serious. It sounds like a formal vow or a warning.
But I'll call you sounds light, friendly, and casual.
And would gets shortened too. I would like that becomes I'd like that.
Learning to hear these short sounds, I'd, I'll, gonna, will help you understand movies and real conversations so much better.
It is not about being lazy with your speech. It is about efficiency. It helps the music of the language flow better.
So, to bring it all back to the start, don't be afraid of the future tenses.
If you have a plan, own it with going to.
If you have a sudden impulse or a wish to help, offer it with will.
And if you are dreaming or just trying to be polite, soften it with would.
And remember, even if you choose the less natural option, people will still understand you. Communication is about connection, not perfection.
Absolutely. Every time you speak, you are building a bridge to another person. The exact grammar is just the paint on the bridge. The structure is your idea.
Thank you so much for joining us on the English Cast today. We hope this episode has given you a little more clarity and a lot more confidence.
Keep practicing, stay curious, and be kind to yourself as you learn. You are making progress every single day.
Don't forget to subscribe if you would like to join us for more conversations like this one.
We always love having you with us.
Remember our motto, learn, speak, connect.
See you next time, everyone.
Take care.